Oh my gosh, it works. There you are.
I'm here. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
It's almost like being together.
It's almost the same, yeah.
Almost.
Not really.
How are you doing?
Really good. How about you?
Good. I'm happy to be with everybody today on Earth Day.
Yeah, me too. I tried to get outside, but it started raining after days of sun, so I positioned my window so it's like I'm outdoors.
It's perfect. It looks like you're outside. I remember that window.
Yeah. You feel like you're outside when you're by it.
Hi, everybody. Happy Earth Day. We're excited. I'm Maryam. This is Jess. We're going to start in a minute. We're just giving everybody a chance to jump on. I hope you all had a good Earth Day morning and Earth Day afternoon. Hi guys. I should say beautiful people. Hello, beautiful people. Happy Earth Day. Awesome.
How's the weather where you're at, Maryam?
You know, I was going to say, I felt, when you said it was raining, I felt bad telling you, but it's about to be 80 degrees here today.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay. We have a lot of sun, so this rain is really good for the garden.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's true. That's true. No, I wouldn't be complaining if it was raining on Earth Day either, but I think we've got best of both worlds. You know, you need that lush scenery in Portland, Oregon. Jess, do you have wine at the ready? Always.
Always.
Yay, well, welcome everybody. We're so excited to have you. We are very delighted to be a part of the Assemblage Symposium webinar series, keeping this community together. And I just want to make sure, Jess, you can hear me okay?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So we are here today to celebrate Earth Day. So we will be talking through a recipe called Chana Masala, one of my favorites. And we're also going to talk about some earth-friendly wine and being earth-friendly in general at home and in your cooking and your eating. And we're also just going to have a conversation. So use the comments to ask questions as we go. Open some wine. It's noon, so I think we're good. And Jess and I are, of course, going to introduce ourselves, but I did want to tell everyone that Jess and I have had a really great friendship over the past couple of years. We actually met during Food and Wine Aspen, and I was just able to see her in September for Feast Portland, and we had said we were going to get tattoos together because that's what you do when you go to Portland, and we didn't get to do that. We lost our resolve. But Jess, in honor of your Riesling tattoo, today I put my temporary Riesling tattoo on.
Oh, nice.
So I'm a chef, and we're together. So a little bit about me. For those of you who don't know, I'm the Director of Public Programs at the Culinary Institute of America in California. And what that boils down to is that I run a team of professional chefs and hospitality pros to put on programs open to the consumer that the CIA writes. We take our academia and our industry initiatives and we make it bite-sized for the consumer. So we do hands-on cooking classes, wine classes. We also do some really great panels and thought leadership around the food system, our planet, equity, really exciting stuff. And then I happen to have a background in beverage. I was in beverage distribution before I moved out west, and I went to Walla Walla to learn how to make wine. And so that, with the few other smatterings of experience, led me to also be the director of our annual Summit for Beverage Professionals. And so Siobhan was actually able to join this year. Jess was a presenter last year. So just a great way to keep our community together. And Jess, do you want to tell everyone about you?
Yeah, I'm the wine director for Olympia Provisions here in Portland. So I oversee 5 restaurants. I oversee our farmers markets, what we used to have for events. I've been with Olympia Provisions for about 10 years. And then I also make wine. So I have a winery called Stick Figurine, and I'm about to release my first vintage.
Yes, but you've been making it for a while, right?
I've been making wine for 5 years.
And is it all coming from your vineyard in your backyard, or?
It's not. I have about 80 vines in my backyard of Pinot Noir, and I produce from that, but most of what I'm producing is from other wineries throughout the state.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
we're definitely going to talk more about what is in our backyards, but it's lunchtime, so I feel like I should get cooking, and we're going to walk through the recipe. A big thank you to Siobhan and Rachel for organizing this and for getting the recipe out. So some of you have it in your inbox. If you're planning to make it with me, I hope you can follow my directions. I had actually never previously written this recipe out before. I wrote it just for Assemblage, and so I have my computer open. I don't want to forget the steps that I told you to do. So I'm going to get into the kitchen, and I just explained that I'm not a CIA chef, but I happen to work with a lot of them. And so I know a few things, I guess I could say. But the first thing is that you wash your hands. So I know we're all getting a little sick of hearing that, but truly in the kitchen world, we've got to wash our hands before we start. And I did that right before I joined the call, so I'm just going to get suited up. I happen to be accident prone, so I wear an apron always. And this is one of my favorite t-shirts. And so what we're going to do today, like I said, it's Chana Masala. And Jess and I talked about this a little bit because this is a recipe that's not exactly easy for wine pairing. It is meant to be pretty spicy if you can handle it. But what I love about it is that it is, of course, plant forward. It's actually a vegan dish, and it is packed with flavor, packed with plant protein, and packed with fiber. And if you went out and Googled Chana Masala, you'd see a lot of different recipes available. You could look, honestly, today and find people using fresh herbs or find people doing a different take on this than I am. But this is the recipe that I grew up with, so I've shared it with you. And I chose this recipe because I know that we're all craving some togetherness and community. And my mother, who is German, went to Pakistan when she was in her 30s, and I was a very young baby. And she had never experienced any of this cuisine before, but my family taught her. And when we came back, my mom continued to cook this dish specifically for a long time. And I learned over the years through observation how to make it. And I felt like when she was making it, she was connecting to these people really far away, and then therefore connecting me to them. And my family's all in New York right now, so it was just a nice kind of way for me to be with them and make a dish that comforts me and that's very healthy. It's important to note that when you talk about plant forward as a diet, you're not saying you can't eat meat. You are just eating less meat less often. And it's also important that the meat you do eat comes from a place that you can have full confidence in, that is ethical, that is using as much of the animal as possible to reduce waste. And I think Olympia Provisions is one of the, standard setting companies out there for that. And, Jess knows how I feel about OP. So very, very cool company. If you guys didn't know, their aspirations are awesome and setting the benchmark for a lot of people. So CIA guidelines. I think there's some CIA chefs on here, so I'll hear about this later if I mess it up. So I said I was accident prone. Underneath my cutting board, I don't think you guys can see it, but I have a little wet paper towel, and that's holding my cutting board in place. So I don't want my cutting board sliding around everywhere. I want a steady workspace, especially because I don't want to accidentally slide while I'm in the middle of cutting something, because I have a really, really sharp knife. So I'm using a Japanese shun knife. You can use whatever type of knife you feel comfortable with and you have the most control over, but a chef's knife is great for dicing onions. I'm doing a lot of general work in the kitchen. And quick couple tips. A lot of people tend to hold the knife back here. A lot of people also use their finger for balance, and that's fine, but you don't have a lot of control. And actually, if you're holding it like this, you could easily roll your wrist, or the knife could roll in your hand. So we suggest that above the handle, you put your thumb and your index finger for a lot more control, and then you basically choke up on it like it was a baseball bat. You're holding it higher than you would think you need to. And now all of a sudden the knife is an extension of my hand. I could basically write with it if I wanted to. So that is how I'm going to hold the knife. The other tool that I have here is one of our favorites, the bench or bowl scraper. So bench scraper for the flat edge, helping me get things off my cutting board without using my knife blade, and efficiently getting it where it needs to go and not making a giant mess everywhere. a bowl scraper because it fits really nicely into a bowl to scoop out bread, for instance. And I know a lot of you are trying your hand at bread. So it's a good tool to have. It's a couple bucks, very durable, and available at most of the local kitchen supply stores out there. So at CIA and many other professional kitchens, there's a principle called mise en place. We want everything in its place. I have pre-prepared all of the ingredients in the recipe to exactly how they've been laid out. So all of my ingredients are either diced or finely diced. My spices are measured out. But I saved a couple things to show you, and one of those is, an onion. So onions in Indian and Pakistani food are really, really common. You will very rarely see a dish without onion in it. So I felt like I had to show you this. I'm going to move this out of the way. Jess, can you see my cutting board?
I can see your cutting board. The onion is perfectly positioned.
Wonderful. Great. So I am relatively lazy when it comes to onions. I hate that as prep work. So I'm not even going to skin this. Also, it'd be embarrassing because it's taking me forever to skin this in front of you. So I'm going to save us all some time. Super quick onion anatomy lesson. This end with all the hair at the bottom is the root end. This end is the top. We want to keep the root end intact because we're going to use the root end to hold our onion together while we dice it. So I'm going to show you a new, maybe not a new way, but a way to dice this. And I'm just going to be really careful that I'm taking the top off, and then I'm being just really mindful. I got to get those hairs out of here, but I want the root end intact, so I'm going to be really careful. I got the hairs out because nobody wants onion hair in their Chana Masala, but this is what the root end looks like now. Still there. And I am going to move my waste to my compost stool. So earth-friendly cooking and eating also includes composting. Anything that you can't finish or that you really can't use is considered food waste or food excess. And if you have a composting program in your city, or even better yet in your home and for your garden, then that is where your food excess and food waste should go. When food ends up in the trash, it produces methane gas, which is obviously adding to greenhouse gas emissions overall. And so one of the things we can do as individuals, as food steps, is to be really mindful about composting. So I have a compost for the city of Napa, and a lot of other cities are adopting that practice too. So hopefully there's an option for you. Maybe you just make friends with someone who has a great garden and you can give them your compost. So
you can use compost if you're in Portland.
What do you say, Jess?
You can give me your compost if you're in Portland. I use compost for my garden.
I think in Portland. I think there's probably a few people from Portland there. So, like I said, I'm just peeling the onion now really easily from the corner, and blah, blah, one swift move. And I've got the root end here. Now, a lot of us tend to put our onions or anything really in the middle of the board to cut because it's more natural for us. But for this type of technique for dicing the onion, I'm moving the onion closer to me because if it's in the middle of the board and I'm trying to cut, and my knife is twisted, it will not be even. And the really important thing about this recipe is that the onion ends up uniformly cut because we need all of the pieces of onion to get a little bit of caramelization, which adds complexity to the dish. If the onions aren't uniformly cut, we can end up with some overcooked pieces, we can end up with some undercooked pieces, and that's not what we're going for. So I'm pulling the onion close to me. I have a lot more control. The root end is on my left, and I'm going to make sure I don't cut all the way through that root end because it's going to hold the onion intact while I do this. This is a pretty medium-sized onion. I think I can get about 3 cuts out. And what I'm doing, as you can see my fingers, I'm doing a forward and back motion with the knife. I'm being very careful. I'm putting my claw here. Claw is a CIA term for not chopping your fingers off. Just kidding, guys. But it is safe. So you want to keep your fingers out of the way, and all I'm doing is holding the onion in place. I'm not pushing down because otherwise my knife blade would be fighting the onion. I'm just holding it here so it doesn't fall apart. And this onion is actually not super tall, so I'm only going to get 2 horizontal cuts through this. All right, now I'm going to turn the root onion toward you or away from me, and I'm going to follow the ridges of the onion and make some vertical cuts. Also, be careful not to cut through the root end yet. So I can use my fingers to kind of hold it together as we go. If pieces fall out, that's fine. You know, we can dice it if they come out of the onion. If you're doing the cut and you're pulling the knife back toward you, as long as you're really swift and distinct about it and you're very, your knife is very sharp, you shouldn't see too many pieces falling out. I don't have very much on my board yet. And then I'm just going to turn the onion this way, and I'm going to make the last set of vertical cuts. And if you can see that, I have nice uniform pieces using my claw, keeping my fingers out of the way. I'm being, you know, I'm watching the measurement of where I cut. I've got this tiny little piece of onion left. I don't like to waste. I'll use that. But I'm not going to really worry about that right now. Any pieces that end up a little bit bigger, you can just go ahead and cut like that. So I'm going to use that handy bowl or bench scraper that I mentioned and get my onions out of here. So for those of you following along at home, go ahead and do step 1 in the recipe, which is to cut your ginger, your peppers, your onion, reserve a little bit into a bowl, which I've already done, and a little bit of lemon juice, and we're going to set that off to the side because that's going to go in our finished dish. So it is going to add some pop and some spice, which is great. It really lifts the dish in the end. But for now, we're keeping it to the side. And you guys can decide how spicy you want this. My dad is a 12 out of 10 kind of guy, and he'd be embarrassed to know that I'm only making this. I'm making this at an under 10 out of 10 spice level, but he's probably not here because he doesn't know how to use Instagram, so we're good. So while you're doing that, home chefs that are following along, I'm just going to show you 2 more tricks for CIA purposes. And one of the ones I want to show you, I'm actually going to control the camera, is ginger. So ginger, here it is. Very expensive, little goes a long way, so we don't want to waste. So we use a spoon, and that helps us from cutting too much of the flesh of the ginger away and losing it. And all I'm doing is putting my thumb here in the concave and my index finger here, and I'm just gonna gently start. I'm gonna get ginger all over my floor just for you guys, and I'm gonna gently start to peel away the skin.
Will you raise your hand a little bit, Maryam, so we can see it?
Sorry, yes, thank you. It's hard to do that from here. There we go. New appreciation for all my chefs out there, for all my demo chefs. I miss them so much. But the tool here, someone told me that the cheaper the spoon you use, the better. I think that has to do with like your weight not pushing too much into the flesh of the ginger. And it's a little bit, you're quicker probably because it's a lighter tool, but you can easily get into nooks and crannies. So when you have like this giant piece of ginger and you need to get here and you don't want to waste too much of it, use the spoon. You can really get into the corner of the ginger. That makes life a lot easier. So we're going to finely dice that ginger. I've got some here. Or you can microplane it if you have a microplane, which is just basically a fine grate. I've also gone ahead and cut all of my peppers. And the pepper level, like I said, that you use is totally up to you. If you don't want a lot of spice, you don't have to use the seeds or the core of the pepper. You can just use the outer sides. You could use jalapeno instead. It's a little bit less than spicy than serrano. I use serranos. And I just suggest, though, that you do use the pepper because it adds a lot of flavor to the dish. So if you can't take a lot of spice, just throw 1 jalapeno, no seeds, no core, and you'll be good to go. And that will still lend the flavor, but maybe not give it as much of a kick if you're not a spice person. And then the last thing for people following along are spices. So a lot of you have these at home. I know that this is an Indian dish. It's not super common for everyone to have these, but ground cumin is a great spice to keep. It adds a lot of flavor. We've also got ground coriander, ground turmeric. And then the last spice we have is actually a finishing spice that we're going to do at the very end of the dish called Chana Masala. This one may be the least likely for you to have at home, and garam masala is a blend of spices. So if you have any of these spices laying around, you can kind of hodgepodge a garam masala together. There's lots of recipes online for this, but this one is by McCormick, and it's coriander, black pepper, cumin, cardamom, and cinnamon. And a lot of other garam masalas also have nutmeg in them. So if you have some warm spices at home, you can still finish the dish with them. You don't need a lot. the dish won't entirely suffer without it, but it does add a really great flavor, a unique flavor at the very end of the dish. So I am, if you're following along on the recipe, have done step number 1. And also because I wanted you to be able to hear me, I've done step number 2, which is heat a large pot. I'm using a wok style pot over here. I don't have to cover the dish ever, so I don't have a lid for that pot. It worked out perfectly. I brought the onions up to temperature and caramelized them, and I have salted and added the cumin. So this is what the onions should look like. So we've got some caramelization around the edges, and there's some cumin mixed in there. So sorry if that's kind of dark, but that's what you're going for. And if you're at that point, we're almost ready to add everything. Now, I did tell you you needed to reserve a little bit of lemon juice, and I promised 3 tricks from the CIA. So this is one of my favorites. I've been with them for almost 5 years now, and I saw this done very early on, and the chefs know this is one of my favorite hacks. So it's almost lemonade season. So, I mean, I'm basically dripping lemons, and I don't like to squeeze a lot of lemons and have to deal with the cramping in my hand and all that fun stuff. So this is just a cool little trick you can do if you have kitchen tongs. And I use a strainer because I'm lazy, if you can pick that up. I don't like fishing for seeds. And what I do is once I've halved my lemon, I put the lemon into the tong at the base, I'm holding it at the base, and I'm just going to squeeze. And it's so easy.
I cannot believe I've never seen that. I've been in restaurants for like 20 years.
Yes, I'm so happy. I did something different for you, Jess, just for you. So, but it does, like if you have to do 10 lemons, this is such a cool trick. And you can go, you know, you do one side and then you go ahead and switch and then you do the other side. And you really are getting the most out of the lemon and putting very little pressure on your hand. And you could do this for, you know, a lot more lemons. We only need 1 lemon for this recipe, but I just wanted to show you that trick because it's one of my favorites that we teach. So we're going to jump over to Jess very soon to talk about some wine. But for those of you who are following along, we've got our lemon juice. I have some I've already saved in case the lemon demo went south. I've got ginger, and I've got my jalapeno. My onions have been salted, the cumin is added, and I am at the point at which I could, in step number 2, add the jalapenos or serranos or any other spice pepper you're using. I can add my ginger. I can add my lemon juice. And I want to wait maybe about 30 seconds. I don't want to wait too long. I definitely don't want to burn the ginger. As soon as that's ready, I'm going to go ahead and add my chickpeas and my tomatoes. Very important thing in the recipe is that you don't drain your chickpeas. I'm using canned chickpeas, organic, low sodium, because I want to control my salt. But if you're using hydrated chickpeas, that's fine. Either use the liquid you hydrated them with or add some liquid into the pan. I did drain the tomatoes because we don't want an overly tomato-based dish. It's just for the tomatoes themselves. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And Jess, will you talk about the wine that you chose to go with this dish? Will I do that?
Yeah, absolutely. When Maryam told me she was cooking Chana Masala, I laughed because I was like, oh, great. So you wanted to pick one of the hardest things for me to pair wine with. But fortunately, it's actually one of my favorite dishes. And I had just had chickpeas with spices, not Chana Masala, but a different version a few nights before. And I had it with a French Chenin Blanc. And I was like, I think I finally found a pairing for chickpeas. But that's actually not what I ended up choosing for Maryam's dish. I wanted to go with something local. And I was thinking about Assemblage Symposium and all of my friends in the community who make wine. And I realized that I had this bottle in my basement. This is Pet Sounds from a wonderful winemaker named Jess Miller. She's a dear friend of mine. Maryam had the chance to meet her when she was up here for Feast. And this is a pet nat of Pinot Noir from here in Oregon. A pet nat, for those of you who aren't familiar, is basically an old school style of making bubbly wine, where you take the first fermentation of winemaking. When it is almost dry but still has a little bit of sugar, you bottle the wine, and then the last little bit of fermentation is captured in the bottle, which creates a nice, delicate, sparkling style of wine. Flavor-wise, it really runs the gamut. It has to do with the grape you choose, how much sweetness there is when you open it, and all sorts of other factors that winemakers can make when they're deciding to bottle a pet nat. The good thing about pet nats with something like Chana Masala is they do tend to have a little bit of a soft sweetness to it. It tends to happen that when fermentation is going through, it doesn't reach total dryness, but you'll still have just a tiny bit of residual sugar, which really helps counterbalance spice in dishes. Maryam's tamed down her dish today so that it won't be too hot, but when you're pairing spicy food and wine, a little bit of sugar will really help tame the heat. If you have a super spicy dish, be it Chana Masala or anything else, something like a Riesling with a good amount of residual sugar will really, really help. So the other reason I chose this wine, aside from the fact that I love Jess and I love the wines she makes, is that she is a farmer. So a lot of winemakers may have grapes, they may farm, they may not farm, but she does all of her own farming, and she does it incredibly sustainably. So it's not just organic or biodynamic, but it's actually regenerative. So it's looking at, you know, sequestering carbon in the soil, not adding anything, making sure that the natural species populations in the vineyards are sustained. And so it's really important on Earth Day to not just look at things that pair with it, but also things that pair with the earth.
Definitely. Awesome. I also got to meet Jess during the feast, and I have had the pet sounds, and it's delicious. So great choice. I already drank my bottle of that, I told Jess, so I don't have it to have with that wine or with the food today, but I do have, I opened a wine that probably won't pair because it is very spicy food, but I opened a Syrah from the Rocks District of Mountain Free Water by Cayuse, vinified by one of my favorite ladies, Elizabeth Fortier, and Cayuse is a fully biodynamic property in Walla Walla in the recently established 2015 Rocks District of Mountain Free Water. So it's got some funk, it's red, it is going to make my dish even spicier, but I love it and I support their farming practices as well. And what we're doing right now, just to give you an update on the recipe. So for those of you who are cooking along with me, everything's in the pan now. Like I said, this dish can be made 99% ahead of time. You can prep everything out, but then it becomes a waiting game. So in Indian and Pakistani cooking, time is of the essence in that you have to have a lot of it. So this is going to simmer for an hour. I'm bringing the mixture up to a boil, and then at least an hour I'll let it simmer, and I'm going to keep it uncovered. So I know that we don't have an hour together. So what we're doing instead, because there's the magic of TV, is I've already prepared a dish to show you guys. So for those of you who are working through the dish, it looks great. It's a little bit separated. The liquid from the chickpeas hasn't fully integrated with liquid from a little bit of liquid from the tomatoes as well as the spices. So you can see if you're looking at the pot, it's definitely not quite ready. But after about an hour or even longer, this went for an hour and a half, I made a mini batch for the first time ever of Chana Masala last night to my roommate's delight. And I have the finished dish here. So this works in the practice. Hello, kitty. But what we would normally, let me bring this over so you guys can see it and try not to drop everything on the plate. So, this is the finished dish. Nice and bright, really integrated. Sorry, it's steaming. And then on my plate, I've got cucumbers for cooling. I've got some yogurt, which could be blended with the cucumbers to make raita. And then I've also got some fresh radishes. I picked the breakfast radishes this morning from the garden for Earth Day and promptly sent the picture to Siobhan. And what we could do with this dish, in addition to having the accoutrement here that I showed you, is we could pair this with rice and peas or pulao. We could have naan. We could also have a number of other dishes on the table. Chana is considered a main. But those are some of the ways that we could enjoy it. And I don't tend to garnish with fresh herbs for Chana Masala. but you could definitely garnish. A lot of people use cilantro. I think it already has a lot of intense flavors, so you don't need to. But what you do need to garnish with, or as my pot is boiling, so I'm turning it down. I can hear it boiling. Just as the dish is finished, and I didn't want to do it in that ugly little pot, so I'm going to do it here, is I'm putting that reserved lemon juice, ginger, jalapeno, and onion. And I would actually mix this into the pot before I serve it. So I wouldn't necessarily garnish with it, but you could. And then also the garam masala that the recipe calls for. So garam masala, because it's toasted spices, it's already warm. It doesn't require a lot of cook down time. So and it can burn a little bit. So we don't want to add this too soon in making the dish. We want to add this just as we're finishing it off, as it's coming off the heat, and then we're ready to go. So this looks pretty as a garnish, but I would rather it be integrated into the dish. The surprise of the pepper, the surprise from the onion and lemon juice, just adding that extra flavor. So that's our finished dish, Jess. I wish I could give you some.
I know. Can you ship it to me?
I could probably freeze it. You could freeze this. It lasts quite a while in the fridge. It'll last 4 to 5 days. So maybe, Jess, maybe I can figure something out for you.
I guess I can just cook it now because you just taught me how.
That's true. The recipe is available through Assemblage for sure.
I have a lot of free time at home, so.
Yeah, exactly. And then, so since being a free time at home, one of the things that Jess and I really just wanted to talk to everybody about, and as a thank you to Assemblage and the amazing community of women that Assemblage is keeping together and bolstering. We wanted to just offer our thoughts a little bit on community and what we can all do to support each other. And I put Jess on the spot with this because I said, well, I know we're going to finish the dish and I want to say something. I want to leave people feeling like they're empowered to help the planet. And food and wine intersect, especially with the health of our planet and the health of our people. And we all know the power of food and wine to bring people together. So we talked about earth-friendly cooking and some things you could do at home to be a great chef and a steward of the earth. You could garden. We both have pretty extensive gardens. Jess definitely is winning 80 vines at that.
My garden's a little excessive for a 2-person household.
But you could also drink really sustainably and responsibly made wine. And then you could also really work to bolster your community right now, to your community of women or friends or businesses, especially locally, that are doing their very best to make this a time where they can either survive and thrive, or a time where they can also then support their community. So our support of that is really important. And I just, from personal experience, think that my community especially has only grown bigger by supporting other people, advocating for other people and celebrating them. And I'm still very conscious of that even in these moments. Some of the strongest people that I know are saying, I'm gonna sit down for a moment and I am going to take a breath and I'm gonna let other people come forward. And I think that those people are supporting the community too by doing that. So speaking of that, yes, I know we're almost out of time. So I wanted to ask how people can support you or Olympia Provisions in this time.
Yeah, well, our restaurants are mostly closed, as most are, but we're really fortunate as a company that we have a web store and that we sell in grocery stores. So people can purchase Olympia Provisions on our website at olympiaprovisions.com. We also started a local delivery service for those who live in Portland. So you can order beer and wine and fresh produce from a wonderful, amazing local grower called Your Kitchen Garden. And yeah, we're just trying to keep as many people employed and keep Portland fed and keep the earth happy and strong. And we're using this extra downtime to work on growing our sustainable sourcing for the pork that we use in our products. So there's an upside to it. What else for you, Maryam?
The CIA is thinking of all of you. Miss you all in our kitchens. So just keep a lookout for fun recipes and ideas on the blogs that we have. And You know, in my spare time, I am offering resources to anybody who needs help with strategizing or thinking about their next project. I've been doing that since the quarantine started, and I feel so honored to be a part of so many fun ideas, and I'm happy to help you truly if you reach out. I'm here in a heartbeat. And anyone who's interested in the professional beverage summit, also feel free to reach out. I know there's awesome scholarship opportunities, and we're working really hard to create an awesome and lasting program, which we relaunched again this year. So those are some ways. And I want to remind everybody to check out Olympia Provisions. Oh my God, I miss that cat so much. I miss the dogs too. Did you make them go outside?
They're here. I kept thinking that they were going to start barking any minute, but they kept it cool.
My cat had to go outside. She's very loud. She thinks she's a dog. Anyway, thank you everybody for joining us. Reminder to join again Friday at noon for Siobhan Ball and Carrie Welch, Keeping It Real at noon, talking about the state of beverage professionals. And Carrie Welch, if you don't know, is the owner of Little Green Pickle PR agency, and she spearheads Peace Portland, which is an amazing event put on every year. And you know, they're gonna talk about productivity and providing ourselves with some self-care and what getting things done looks like now and how we can all support each other through that. So I hope you guys will join for Friday at noon. And thanks so much for coming today. And Jess, yeah. I missed you. You'll be with Maryam. My temporary tattoo will be on forever, probably. And I would just say cheers to you, Jess.
Cheers to you, Maryam. Thanks everyone for joining.
Happy birthday.
If you want to get stick figurine wine, I will be releasing it in May, so contact me.
Okay. Okay, Jess, I'm getting get some of that.
Well, I'll send it to you. You have to buy it.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.